Hello and welcome to another edition of BYOB. Bring your own book, booze, boys, buddies, whatever. We're real loose about
Bug
that.
spray.
Bug
Bug
spray.
spray.
It's going to be the
Or the
springtime. You never know.
Galapagos.
Bug spray for those trips to the Galapagos Islands where Tosca's been and my daughter is going. We were just chatting about that. I am author Nola Nash. This is
Laura Kemp. And this is, I did it right.
You got it right.
I'm Tosca Lee.
We are so excited to have Tosca joining us today. I've had the opportunity to talk to Tosca in the past, and she's always a joy. She is a beautiful human inside and out. Former Miss Nebraska over there, over here just basking in the glory of the crown over there. She's amazing. All right, so we are going to talk to Tosca. Tosca, one of the things that Laura and I, that kind of drew us to this is your upcoming book that's a collaboration. I have never co-written with someone. Laura is in the process of doing that with a screenplay. I'm fascinated by this process.
I know.
And
that's why
we want to talk to you a little bit about that. But first, for the folks who may not know who you are, first of all, shame on you if you don't know who Tosca Lee is. Good to know Tosca Lee. I mean, come on. But for those who don't know, I'm going to let you in your own words tell the listeners and viewers a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to talk collaboration.
Okay. Well, my name's Tosca, and I live in Nebraska. I am married to a farmer. So I used to be a city girl, and a plot twist I never saw coming. I married a farmer and single dad 4. So I have 4 bonus kids, and coming to you live from rural Nebraska out on the farm today. So I write historical, biblical, I write dystopian, I write thrillers, and my upcoming one is a World War II novel. I have a giant German Shepherd named Timber. He's 160 pounds.
Ooh.
And yeah, if you can get him to cuddle with you, he's a good body pillow. So
yeah, if he's around, he can get in the shot.
Yeah, he's huge. If you like dogs, you can check him out on social media. He's more popular than I am. People only tune in to see him.
So is my dog.
I've got my dog right here.
My dog is not allowed upstairs, but he's down roaming somewhere. So that's just a little bit about me. Yeah.
And you are a multi-award-winning author, so we know you know your stuff. Tosca's won the Killer Nashville Silver Falchion, which is one that is, near and dear to me because I'm in the Nashville area. So Killer Nashville is the local one for me. But lots of awards for your work, lots of variety in your work, and this book that you're working on, your World War II, is not your first collaboration. Am I right in that?
Right. It's my second. I wrote 3 books with Ted Decker, and so this is my second collaboration, and we've done just one.
Tell us about this one and what it's like writing with somebody else.
Yeah, how do you even do it?
I mean,
yeah,
how do you go, let's do this together
and not kill each other?
Yeah, it's like marriage.
How do you stay friends at the end? It's really the way.
I think that's a really good question. I get asked a lot about what it's like writing with other authors. And the number one thing I think is most important is to know what your strengths are and to know what you're bringing to the table and how those strengths complement each other. So I think that's the top thing to have top of mind. I know lots of writing partnerships, and I don't know of any writing duo that does it the same as any other duo. So even between the two that the 2 collaborations I've had, completely different. So on the first one, we'd take turns taking the lead on the first draft. On this most recent book that I wrote with Marcus Brotherton, Marcus had been working on this project for quite some time when he invited me to come into it. So he had done a lot of groundwork already on this project. So he came in and essentially handed everything over to me, and I started digging in. Totally different than building someone else from the ground up. Rewarding both times. And it's really funny because with Marcus, we worked together. He worked on this for many years, and then I worked on this with him for 5 years. And we only met in person for the very first time a few months ago at our publishers in October. Never met in person before. So it was like, wow, you're real. him in one or
had kind of a similar thing. Nola and I, we had
seen like live or anything even. So
Yeah.
we've only had a couple Zooms. It was very weird to be able to say, wow, your face moves, you know, so when you've never met somebody in person, right? It's like, oh, yeah.
That was me and Laura.
Very rewarding,
we met last summer.
Fun. Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. When you see that person, I always said it was great to meet Laura in 3D. I felt like she's very, you know, one-dimensional, two-dimensional, but then you've got this person in front of you and it brings that to life. So the following question then would be, if you'd never met and this was, you know, years of working together, how did the actual, I mean, he's been working on this for a while and then you get brought into it as an author. I don't know what would make me say, okay, I'm going to bring somebody else into this process now. I've done this. I'm going to pull somebody else in, and here's the person I want to pull that in. Like, there's got to be a lot of steps along the way before that actually happened. So how was it that he decided, I'm not going to do this on my own, and Tosca, tag, you're it?
You know, I think he felt like he needed some various aspects to be added into the storylines and things like some romance, things like that. But also, he had read a great deal of my work. And Marcus had one other novel. Marcus is probably best known for his nonfiction, for his World War II biographies. But I was very familiar with his other novel, because I endorsed it. So I'm familiar with his work. I'm familiar with him as a person. He's familiar with my work. So it wasn't like he cold called me out of the blue. You know,
that would have been weird.
He specifically said, hey, you know, I think that you would be a good fit for this. So, and today I'm very happy he did that. This was an era and a part of history I was not that familiar with. So I had to do the research and get up to speed. And, you know, I added 5 years to this process. So it's been over a decade that this
has been 10 years.
So it's 12 total altogether. He had it for 7. I had it for 5.
Wow.
So,
it must feel wonderful to finally see it.
It does for me, and I know it really does feel good for him, because he conceived of this a long time ago. So
is this something that you guys would, you know, you wrote several with Decker. So is this something that you see the two of you continuing to do, or was this kind of a once and done? We're all moving on to do other things. This was, you know, great. Or, you know, what is the feel about this as you're getting close to, this one launches in, is it
May 2nd?
May 2nd, okay.
Coming up. Yeah. Okay. Finally.
12 years.
Here we go.
Coming in May. You'll be the longest month and a half for you, like 2 months for you. It's like coming down this stretch.
I think we're both open to the idea. This book is finished, so it was not meant to be a series or anything like that. So this one is done. I'm sure that if there were demand, that we would entertain the idea of doing it again. So I think this is kind of a, you know, let's put this out into the world and see if people like it.
So when you did this and you've got, you know, he kind of turned it over to you, was there a lot of, you know, here you kind of do your thing with this, or is it, you know, more, I want you to add in these particular places? How do you divide the work, especially when someone is already invested 7 years in and you come in? How do you decide how much you add?
Yeah, I think our situation was very unusual in that Marcus came into this situation with a great deal of trust for me, which I really appreciate, because I think that's very hard. It's very hard when you've been working on something to say, here you go, let's see what you do now. But essentially he, you know, I said, you know, I'm going to go do some stuff with this. And he said, great. And, you know, towards the end, when it was coming together, we were passing it back and forth. And we both have our non-negotiables as far as, I really think this needs to stay and I really don't want to change this. But at the end of the day, you know, it takes a great deal of respect, a great deal of trust, a great deal of compromise, and also willingness to hear the other person and what their vision is and what's on their heart as far as the story. And if you can accomplish that, then, you know, with a writing partner, you can write great stories together. And Marcus is you know, if you meet Marcus, he is not a high ego person. He's a very humble person. He's a very, very good listener. So he's very easy to write with.
That does help.
It does
That
almost
would
sound like a
absolutely
marriage,
help.
doesn't it? Like
You have to find those
non-negotiable.
strengths that go together, you know. So yeah.
You should tell us a little about the book. What is the book about?
Yeah.
Oh, the book, yes, of course.
We've got strategy now. Let's hear what you did with it.
This is an advanced copy here. We don't have finished copies yet.
Such a pretty cover. I just love that.
It really is.
Beautiful colors.
And the finished one has another image on the back, which this doesn't have. But this is the story of three best friends. Jimmy is the main character, and Hank and Billy are his two best friends. And there's a fourth best friend in the group, and that is Billy's sister, Claire, who is a love interest of the main character, and maybe of one of the other boys, too. So three best friends, who grow up together in Mobile, Alabama. And we've got a dual timeline. So in the present timeline, the three boys are enlisted in the Army, go off to the Philippines, and then the events of Pearl Harbor happen, and the Philippines is plunged into war. And so they're fighting. And as we take breaks from the war to go back to their growing up together in the 30s, we get to see the nostalgia of that time, but also their coming of age. What it is that solidified their friendship to the point that they can help each other survive not only the war, but the Allied surrender, and then this terrible atrocity that became known as the Bataan Death March, which is something these three best friends have to try to survive as they become prisoners of war. So,
oh wow!
I read up on that when I was doing research. It was a terrible, terrible thing.
It was awful. It's a miracle anybody survived. Yeah.
So definitely be rooting for these characters to get through this.
For sure. And historically speaking, the ones that did survive, you know, had faith, they had hope, but they also had friends that helped look out for them. And so friendship became a life-saving part of their lives in the situation.
So I love that you backtracked to how that friendship developed, you know, going back in time with that to give it the power that it would need to survive. You know, it's one thing to have, you know, there's lots of war stories that are about, you know, comrades in arms where, you know, that the friendship develops so deeply because of their dependence on each other for survival. But to have that childhood friendship, that friendship that goes deeper than just the battle they're in, as what is helping them to survive something true, you know, a true atrocity for humanity. And to build on that, that's so good for your readers to have that foundation, to have that depth there. That's got to lend itself to so much more emotion and investing in these characters, to have watched them basically grow up together, to see them in that innocence of childhood as they are thrown into just the just monstrosity that is war. Just what a juxtaposition of their existence for them, and what a beautiful way to tell that story. I love that.
It became important too because, you know, every fourth chapter we go back in time, so you need kind of a break as a reader from all because this was a terrible war. This fighting in the Philippines and in the Bataan Peninsula were malnutritioned, and they were starving. They were dealing with all types of disease. There's no way they should have been able to hold out as long as they did. It was absolutely miserable and terrible. And so to be able to take that break and go back to the simpler time is a moment also for the reader to, you know, to breathe.
Take a breath. Yeah, that heavy emotional stuff. Sometimes you do need a break.
You do need that. You really do, as a reader. You are grateful. You don't realize how tense you are becoming as you're reading that. And then when the author gives you that break, it's like, oh, thank God I needed that. Like, okay, I can keep going. And then it can be very exhausting, especially done well, because you are so invested. You are, it is as though you are there, and you're, you know, so physically invested in it as well. I mean, when you read a really good book, it is amazing how much it does to you physically not just, I mean, you're not the one having those things, but you're tense, your heart is beating faster.
Absolutely.
You realize you've not changed position in the last half hour, and one leg is numb. And it's like, oh my God, thank you. I needed to change that so I can like, you breathe, your body breathes, the characters breathe, everyone breathes, and you move forward. And it's like, okay, I can go back into this again. Sure. It's very important, and to understand the importance of that and how to pace that out. That's such a craft thing that I think readers get the benefit of it, but to actually have an author say this was intentional. We knew you needed this. Yeah. That's an interesting way for readers to look at it.
Split those timelines up pretty evenly. Like, did he do more of the war sections and you do more going back in time to the 1930s, or was it real mixed?
Some of those back times, they were always alluded to, and their history together was always alluded to, but that was something new that I got added after I came in. It's one thing to see their best friends. It's another thing to show it and to take them through the experiences and all the crazy things that teenagers do, that bond them together, and to take them through those tough times and the funny times and the stupid times, that bond them together. So I think it was important to show that. And honestly, it was fun for me to write it, and it was fun for me to take that break also from the heaviness of war too, and to just show, teenage boys being teenage boys. Right.
Yeah. Which makes them relatable. I mean, that makes them relatable, because you can relate to them as children, but you may not be able to relate to them in that situation, the war situation. Right. But if you can relate to them as children, then you are more present in their story later on as well. Because it's like, I feel like I know these people. I've known boys like them. Maybe a brother or sibling, kid. I know somebody like that. I know somebody like that. But so to have that kid that I know so well, then to be thrust into that situation, it becomes very personal.
I can't fathom it, because these I call them kids, but they were young men when they enlisted. They are the same age as, if not slightly younger than, my twin boys. That is That's sobering.
Sobering.
Oh, it is when you think about that.
I have twin 18-year-olds, and in the book, one of the boys lies about his age, and I cannot fathom my twin 18-year-olds dealing with what these guys had to deal with in real life in this industry. So, and
when you put that in perspective, that it is a powerful story of what young people with so little life experience are asked to deal with, to make decisions about. That to me is some of the hardest things. Is you depend on your life experience so much to make the tough choices, the quick choices that you must make. The big, tough, hard, fast decisions are being made by people who don't have the life experience to draw from, and so they are simply doing what they think is best. And when you look back at war stories, so often it's easy to criticize. It's so easy to say, why did they do this? They should have made this decision. When you were looking at 18 to 22-year-olds who were making these snap decisions, and it's very, very, very hard to put yourself back in there once you're an adult or have never lived a situation like that, and think about how inexperienced they actually are and they're making those choices.
Drives it home when you have kids that age.
It does.
It really does. I mean, I think of our twins and I'm like,
are you kidding me? We'd be in such trouble if you were.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it.
And clean up your room.
That is the truth.
That's right. They can't get themselves up and dressed for school, but here, go over there to the Philippines, and we're gonna entrust our nation's future to you.
Right. I mean, it was a different time, and it's just
it was for sure.
It's very sobering being a mom of kids that exact age. I have to say, it's just a little weird. When I started this, they were 13, but what's that?
I wonder if that helped a little bit with the process. Do you think?
It did a little bit, because I got to see these characters grow up through the ages. I mean, my boys were 13, my twins were 13 when I started in on this, so I got to watch them, and now they're 18. They'll be 19 later this year. So I have kind of grown up with them. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I never thought about that until recently, and it was
Yeah.
That is actually an interesting thing, that your characters were growing up as
your own
boys
children.
were. Watching that
feel
change
kind of old,
happen.
Yeah.
No. Well, what are you working on now? I mean, what a huge undertaking that was, and to be working on something for so long. And I know it probably wasn't the only thing that you were working on at the time, because we
It
tend to
kind
overlap.
of wasn't, because during the pandemic, I don't know about you guys, but I kind of shut down a little bit.
I did.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that makes me feel
write.
better.
I could not write.
I beat myself up. I felt bad. I ate a lot, didn't exercise, didn't really write very much, and so I didn't do a lot of other stuff.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Okay, that makes me feel better.
Not alone.
I know. Not alone.
Those people who got in the best shape of their life during lockdown and were so productive, and I'm like, I hate those people.
No.
Right?
Yeah. It was not me. It was not me.
I was glued to the news, or cooking stuff, or because you're stuck at home or whatever. So
eating. It was just going from one meal to the next.
A lot of eating, just. Or
the only way to break up the day.
Hand sanitizer, whatever it was.
The hand sanitizer and eating.
Yeah, I mean, what did we do?
Your fingers that there was going to be toilet paper in your grocery delivery.
Exactly.
That was
too
much of my time was invested in that.
Seriously. I mean, the things that became important during that time were just writing was not one of them. And right now I'm finally getting back into I've got some TV projects in the works, and one of them I'm getting to help write. And then I'm working on another book. It's a medieval thriller, so that's the next project.
I love medieval different things. I love it. Do you have a favorite genre that you write, or are they all? I
like them all. It's one day I like sushi, and one day I like a cheeseburger, and one day I want fish, and another I want a steak. So it just depends on.
It's amazing. Not many authors write in those I don't know what the
vastly
word.
Different.
My agent hates it. My agent's like, stop! Would you settle down?
I don't know how to sell this.
I don't know how to sell this. I don't know how to sell you. And I'm like, I can't be contained.
Don't put Tosca in a corner. Nobody puts Tosca
in a corner.
Good.
I might write something unpredictable.
Do it just for fun now. Just write something completely different now and be like, all right, sell this.
Yeah.
Just to say, how good is this agent? What can they sell?
Oh, you thought that was weird. Watch this.
Watch this. There's your hold your beer moment. Hold my beer. Go down at your typewriter. The flourish.
I love that. Hold my beer.
Yep. Don't know how to sell you, Tosca. Hold my beer.
Hold my beer. I need a t-shirt. I'm gonna find that.
Well, Nola and I have come across that too, because our books are strange, and is that the word? I don't know. They're just, people don't know what to do with us, and I think that's okay. I think it's okay to not. Yeah, you have to just write the stories that feel right and honest and authentic to you, and then hope for the best sometimes.
And people are going to love them, because, if we like it, we're not the only weirdos in the world, right, that are going to think it's cool.
We are not the only weirdos in the world. That's t-shirt number 2, Tosca.
We're not the only weirdos. I mean, think about when Michael Crichton was like, I'm going to write this thing where they pull a DNA out of amber and create this. I mean, I just wonder, was his agent dude,
Yeah.
And it's like, right, dude, do you know people are going to try to do this, right? There's someone out there.
Or just have to be dinosaurs. Why can't it be something else? Come on.
Yeah. People are going to try this. Like, are you ready for this? Because this is all on you. Like, I'm going to sell the book, but the consequences are yours.
They're out there. They're
Just imagine the conversation over coffee.
That's right.
Sure, this is what you want me to sell.
You really want me to go call up New York? Okay.
Okay. So there's this mosquito in some amber. Like, how do you
really a neat idea?
Seriously, and now you've got movies, you've got all the stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So not the only weirdos.
So stay weird.
We're not the only weirdos. Be weird. Find your mosquito.
That's right.
That's right. I love it. Well, Tosca, where can folks find you as they are looking for you on, I know you're all over social media, but give us the specifics where folks can go check out all of these weird and wonderful books that are the Tosca Lee collection.
You can find me at toscalee.com. You can find me on Facebook at author Tosca Lee. You can find me on Instagram at Tosca Lee, Twitter Tosca Lee. I am even on TikTok.
Ooh, I'm gonna look you up. I'm on TikTok.
It's mostly my dog. Mostly not me.
But now Timber is worth checking out. Timber's a cool dog.
You know what? I asked her.
Cool name.
So when we got this 160-pound German Shepherd, I was like, I asked for a purse dog. You got that, but he's social media gold. Everybody likes him. So
it's a great
dog. It does help to have a cute critter.
Yeah, it does.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah, Dudley is more popular than me. I post things about me, nothing. I post something about Dudley, fans out the wazoo.
Yep.
Like, what the heck? Like,
exactly.
I'm here too, people. But no, it's all about Dudley.
It's all about the animals.
It is. Well, Tosca, we could chat forever, but I know we've taken enough of your time, and Laura's got dinner plans with the fam, so we're gonna let her go as well. And Tosca, thank you so much for giving us some time of your afternoon and all of the busy things that you've got going on. And
my pleasure.
You stopping in.
Thank you so much for having me.
Anytime, girl. Anytime.
And stay weird.
Yes. Stay weird, people. I mean, join the cool kids. The cool kids are the weird kids. That's the weird writers are the cool kids. I've really decided that this is the way it should be.
Weird.
It's fantastic to be weird. Speaking of weird, this is a copywritten podcast of Authors on the Air, a global radio network where all the fabulous weird authors love to come and hang out. We look forward to seeing you again on our next episode. Thanks so much for joining us.